Rambert learned that Qatar did not know Gonzalez's address, but that he could always go back to the little cafe and arrange a meeting the next day. And when Ryu indicated that he would like to know what's going on, Rambert invited him to come to his room that weekend at any time of the day. In the morning, Qatar and Rambert went to the little cafe and left a message for Garcia to meet them that evening if it was impossible the next day. In the evening, they went waiting in vain, but the following day Garcia was there. He listened to Rambert's story in silence, and he had not been informed, but he did not know the whole districts had been put out of bounds for 24 hours while the police made house-to-house searches. It was possible that Gonzalez and the two young men had been unable to get past the roadblocks. The only thing that could be done was to put them in touch with Raiola. Of course, it could not be done overnight. I see, said Rambert, so I have to go back to square one. The day after next, in the corner of the street, Raiola concluded that Garcia's suspicion and the lower districts had been sealed off. It was necessary to establish contact with Gonzalez again. 2 days later, Rambert was having lunch with the footballer. It's ridiculous, he said. We should have settled on some way of contacting one another. Rambert agreed, only tomorrow morning we'll go see the kids and try to arrange it all. The next day the kids were not at home. A meeting was arranged for the following day at noon in the Place de Lucille, and Rambert went home and looked at the face and struck Theroux when he met him that afternoon. Something wrong? Theroux asked. It's having to start all over again, Rambert said. And then he repeated his invitation, come over this evening. The evening when the two men came to Rambert's room, he was stretched out in bed. He got up and filled some glasses and he had ready. Ryu, taking his drink, asked if things were going well, and the journalist said that he had once more capable of full round, got back to the same point and would soon have his final meeting. He drank and added, of course they won't come. You must have mistaken a regular thing out of it, said Theroux. You still haven't understood, said Rambert, replied, shrugging his shoulders. What haven't we understood? The plague. Ah, said Ryu. You haven't understood that it's all starting again. Rambert went onto the corner of the room and put a little record player. What's the record? Asked Theroux. I know it. Rambert replied, it's St. James Infirmary Blues. In the middle of the record, they heard two shots ringing out in the distance. A dog or an escape, said Theroux. A moment later, the record ended and the sound of the ambulance became clearer and louder, passing under the windows of the hotel room. Discreet, but finally died away. The record is not funny, said Rambert, and I've heard it at least 10 times today. Do you like it that much? No, it's the only one I have, though. And a moment later, I'll tell you it's about starting again. And he asked Ryu how the health teams were working. There were 5 of them operating and hoped to form others. The journalist was sitting in his bed and appeared to be concentrating on his nails. Ryu looked at his shockingly powerful shape in the corner of the bed. He suddenly became aware Rambert was looking at him. Do you know, doctor, he said, that I've always thought a lot about the organization, and if you haven't joined you for the reason of it. Always I think I could still put my life in line and fought in Spain. Which side? Asked Theroux. On the losing one, but since then I've reflected a bit. On what? On courage. I know now that the man capable of great action, but if he's not capable of great feeling, then it doesn't interest me. One has the impression he's capable of anything, said Theroux. Not at all. He's capable of suffering or of being happy for a long, but he's not capable of anything worthwhile. He looked at them then and asked, Come, Theroux, are you capable of dying for love? I don't know, but I doubt it now. There, yet you are capable of dying for an idea that's potentially obvious. Well, I've had enough of people who die for ideas. I don't believe in heroism. I know that it's easy, and I've found out that it's deadly. That what interests me is living or dying for what one loves. Ryu had been listening closely to the journalist, still looking at him, and said gently, Man is not an idea, Rambert. The other man jumped from his bed and the face contorted with emotion. He is an idea, the very belief of one. Just as soon as he turns away from love and its troubles, we are no longer capable of love. Let's resign ourselves, Doctor. Let's wait until we are capable of it, and if it's not really possible, wait for the general deliverance without playing a heroism. And as for me, I'm not going any farther. Ryu stood up and looked suddenly tiredness. You're right, Rambert, quite right, and I won't want to divert you from what you intend to do, if for anything in the world, because it seems to me good and proper. But I have to tell you, the whole thing is not about heroism. It's about decency. If you seem a ridiculous idea, but only way to fight the plague is with decency. What is decency? Rambert asked, suddenly serious. In general, I can't say. But in my case, I know that it consists of doing my job. Ah, said Rambert, furious. I don't know what my job is. Perhaps I'm really wrong to choose love. Ryu stood up from him. No, he said emphatically. You're not wrong. Rambert looked thoughtfully at him. I suppose the two of you have nothing to lose in all this. It's easier to be on the right side. Ryu emptied his glass. Come on, he said. We have work to do. He went out. Teru followed, but seemed to have a second thought just as he was leaving. He turned to the journalist and said, Do you know that Ryu's wife is in a sanatorium a few miles from here? Rambert gave a gesture of surprise, but Teru had already left. Very early the next morning, Rambert telephoned the doctor. Would you agree to let me work with you until I find the means to get out of town? There was a silence at the end of the phone. Yes, Rambert. Thank you.